Hello, everybody. Let me see. I'll give people a couple minutes to get on here. Make sure everything's working on my end. Hello, Kevin. See here. We're still a little early, but I just want to make sure everything worked. Hopefully my microphone's working. Everything's well and good. Let me see. You want to say hi to everybody today, Nova? Nova, go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Hey everyone, it's great to be here with Matthew today. How's everyone doing?
I think they're doing good. We're a little early here, but I got a lot of cool stuff to show them today, so pretty excited about that.
That sounds awesome. I'm excited to see what you've got planned. What's on the agenda for today?
I got AI news. I got a couple of AI video things to show people. And then, you know, I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A if there's any questions, but that's the plan, so.
Sounds like a solid lineup. AI news and videos always spark interesting discussions. I'm sure the Q&A will be a hit too. Anything specific you're looking forward to sharing?
We'll have to get to that a little bit later, so. But I just wanted you to say hi to everybody. I'm using Nova in this, which is Chat GPT. I got advanced voice now, so now I can actually use it in a stream, which is pretty cool. Let me know, guys, if the audio is working well and everything's going great so far. I think Nova will probably respond to me. I forgot to mute myself, so.
No worries, Matthew. I'm glad to be part of this. Hopefully, the audio is coming through clearly for everyone. Let us know if there's anything we need to adjust.
Well, guys, all right, let's get started here. So I basically want to do this stream in particular just to kind of show some of the ideas that I've had and some of the things I've been playing around with. And also show off some GPT stuff, some Sora stuff, talk a little bit more about artificial intelligence. Hi, Milo. Talk about a little bit more about artificial intelligence and try to kind of get like a, I don't know, show you guys some of the stuff that's going on, you know, and like talk about it a little bit. I want to build kind of like, as I've shared before, kind of a community around this stuff because I'm so excited about it and I just want to find some other people out there that are excited about it as well. So with that said, I'm going to show a couple of things here. Let me get my hair out of my face. Go over to this. And then the first thing I'm going to show you guys is my website. You know, this is where you're going to be able to find all the resources and everything. InfiniteVariance.ai. I'll post it in chat here, actually. Let's see. And there's going to be like a bunch of resources and a bunch of things on here if you just go to resources. But I've been trying to keep this up a little bit better. You can find all the social links up here. You know, my schedule and stuff. I've added new text in here and stuff like that. And then some of the things I'm working on. So not all the videos that I do are going to be specifically tailored around this stuff. Some of this stuff I'm not going to show like my step-by-step process, but other parts of it I do want to show my step-by-step process and really show you guys, or at least try to inspire you in some of the ways you could do it yourself, right? So I got a little about here and what projects I'm looking at or working on. This is the resources page, and you can find that, I think, in like the link in the description as well. But this is like where you're gonna find all the stuff I'm talking about today, including my current workflow that I'm utilizing to create the things that you'll see on this channel, and in general, just updating things and trying, you know, as AI stuff gets like so nuts and insane, it keeps updating at such a fast pace that like I had to add last updated onto this page because it just consistently was outdated, you know, by each day. So I've got a workflow here. Not everybody's going to utilize all these tools, but there's a bunch in here and I have it broken down by, you know, large language models, which is like, here, let me zoom in so you guys can read, huh? large language models, video. So you got Sora in there, Pika 2, which just came out yesterday. KREA, which we'll go into a little bit today. A couple of these tools I'm going to go into. And then you got your audio stuff in here. You got your graphics and images, things to help with writing, how to start a YouTube channel, things that you can utilize with your YouTube channel, stuff that I use personally. And so there's just like a bunch of shit here, right? And so I'm just going to get into it. I don't want to take your whole entire Saturday, but I hope everybody's doing well. I can see, thank you for the comments on the site. You know, I have just only been doing this like half my life, so hopefully it looks good, right? And then if you want to join the community aspects of Infinite Variance, you can by just clicking on the community tab here. We got a Discord that I've started that I'm going to start filling out after I'm done with this live. And then we also have a Telegram group, which I've started. That's just going to be a way for me to like update you guys, you know, and some of you guys might be part of the Imaginators groups and stuff like that. I'm going to try my best to still update both of those communities, but my goal moving forward is to kind of keep the artificial intelligence stuff separate and focus on other things over in that Imaginators community. But like as far as spamming you guys every single day that new stuff comes out, that's somewhere that you can find in the Telegram. So just go to the Telegram, go to the Discord. I'm going to try to keep those both up to date. And then of course up here you got a bunch of social links, my X, another link to the Discord, Twitch, which sometimes I stream games on there, and then the YouTube. So there's this creator that I follow, and I tend to love all of his videos. I'm going to link him, and it's not just because his name's Matt as well. Although, you know, Matts are awesome. But his name's Matt Wolf, and this guy, I believe, makes some of the best, like, AI news videos, right? And they can be quite long. Like, this one's 40 minutes long, and he's got a bunch of stuff in here. The first part, he goes over like Gemini 2, which if you guys didn't know, they just recently came out with Gemini 2, which you can find down here. I have so many tabs open at this point that is like lagging. I don't know why. But you can utilize Gemini 2, and there's like so many different things that I could get into with that. I'm going to let him talk about it here for a second.
OpenAI, both those companies have been shipping like crazy. And I'm going to do my best to break it all down for you right meow. Google has entered what they call the Gemini era. Their new Gemini 2.0 foundation model was released this week, and along with it was a ton of cool features and ways that this Gemini model is being used. They started with the release of Gemini 2.0.
The one thing that I really want to talk about with this, right, is, let me just turn this down instead of shutting it off, is the fact that this is free, right? Like, to a certain extent, Gemini 2 is free. And if you saw like the AI battleground, or as they like to call it, there's this AI battleground where they basically have a bunch of people that are into AI. There'll be pictures, or there'll be questions or answers, and there'll be two separate options, right? And out of the two separate options, they'll be like, which one do you think answers the question better? Which one do you think followed the prompt better? And in that battleground, it's anonymous. And so inside of that, people vote this one or this one, and then they tally those all together and tell us, okay, this model is doing the best at this. This model is doing the best at that. Now, what is a model? A model is Gemini, Chat GPT, of course, 4.0 or O1. Both of those are different models, but they're under the same umbrella. And these battlegrounds basically allow us to kind of figure out like what AIs are really doing the best. And Gemini currently right now is the leader. Like, I believe it's better than O1. And they released the ability to like have like camera, so you can like walk around, talk, and show and utilize the camera, and the AI will talk with you. Now, it's not as realistic sounding as Nova, you know, like it's not as realistic sounding as Chat GPT. If you guys wanted to know, Nova down in the corner there is built off of Chat GPT. Actually, I could have her talk a little bit about Gemini 2. So watch this. Hey, Nova, would you share with the stream a little bit about the new launch of Gemini 2 by Google?
Absolutely. Gemini 2 by Google is a cutting-edge AI model that boasts enhanced capabilities for natural language understanding and generation. It's designed to provide
more... Now, what
more...
things does it exceed at more than OpenAI's Chat GPT or O1 currently?
Gemini 2 stands out with its advanced multitasking and context awareness, allowing it to handle multiple complex tasks simultaneously. It's designed for greater adaptability and can provide more nuanced responses in diverse situations. This could make it more effective for certain complex or multifaceted interactions compared to some other models.
Thanks, Nova. So basically, like, it's
You're
multimodal.
welcome, Matthew. Glad to help.
It's multimodal. So the way that multimodal works is basically the way AI is trained is that there might be multiple separate models. And so it would, like, say you wanted to have a picture generated, right? The picture generation would happen by ChatGPT sending a signal to something like DALL-E, which is theirs, and generating the picture, and then the picture would be sent back to ChatGPT to give to you. What multimodal means is that the artificial intelligence that's utilizing it, and O1 will eventually have this as well, but it can create images in live time. It can create things in live time inside the model itself, instead of actually having to separate those in any way or do it differently. What this does is allows the artificial intelligence, one, to understand more thoroughly about what it's making, because it's kind of not it's not having to translate that to another artificial intelligence. It's just understanding it at the base level and then going after it. And for myself right now, I haven't really hopped into Gemini because I'm such a advocate for ChatGPT. Like, I use it every single day. The way that you guys see Nova down here is the way that I use it pretty consistently. I don't always use voice because advanced voice didn't used to have unlimited with it. You have to buy like their pro plan that's like $200, but now I got unlimited voice, so I realistically could sit here and talk to Nova all day if I wanted to. And I will utilize ChatGPT for so many different things, you guys. Like, I utilize it for creating prompts for images in Midjourney and Flux. I use it for creating shot ideas inside of some of the softwares that I'm going to show you today. It helps that translation even to other artificial intelligence systems, right? Other models, whether they're video models or audio models or anything. You know, you could have it write lyrics to a song and take those lyrics and bring them into a software like Suno, which is built to make songs. It's a whole nother video. I'm just going to go over video models today. But it really is great at making those translations. And so what I love to do after I do this stream about the video models, because I'm just so excited about them and they're like updating every single day. Like, Sora just came out and we're going to go into Sora a little bit on here. But with those, it's I don't know, it's just so exciting because the amount of possibilities that exist kind of like exponentially grows. And I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. You end up having so many different ideas about so many different things that you can do that you almost have to like focus yourself on one particular idea. Now, like, AI is going to get easier and make this easier to the point that you can allocate different thoughts and ideas and train an AI to run with that idea and then bring it back to you. Because, like, I like to think of artificial intelligence, especially in a creative medium, as like you're in the director's seat. So like a film director in a sense, right? When you show up, some directors write their own scripts, some don't. Some purchase scripts or purchase rights to a book, hire a screenwriter, and then the screenwriter writes it. People like Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg do this. Some of the best filmmakers, you know, David Fincher, they don't write the screenplays, and they don't, you know, like, they're not specifically involved in the story outside of translating it. Stanley Kubrick, one of my favorite filmmakers, translating it into images and pictures and audio for all of us to enjoy, right? So they could take like a book like The Shining and turn it into a film. Now, the translation of those two things can be completely different based off of the creative vision of the person. But I like to think that artificial intelligence is that bridge from us being able to have to have all these finances and all this money to get all these different departments to direct certain things. So, you know, as the Oscars are about to happen, some people probably have went and seen Wicked. I haven't seen it yet. it probably will win like best costume design and all these things. That's a specific niche job. Now, the goal of the director on that film is to communicate to the costume design and the makeup departments and the production design what he or she desires, what would serve the story. And this whole process is called pre-production. You go through multiple different layers of this, whether it's the script, whether it's the cinematography, whether it's rehearsals, or anything like that. You go through these entire processes. So then when you finally get there, you have the ability, when you're running through money, right, in actual production, you have the ability to know what you're doing and have a plan. What is really fucking great about artificial intelligence and where we're going is that is not going to be an issue anymore. You will have the ability to sit down and work on something and go, I don't really like this particular spot in what I'm doing. I could write something specifically different and then have a new shot made and then put it in there. Now that I'm using myself as an example, but this goes towards anything, right? Like maybe you've had a visual story in your head or something along those lines and you want to translate it. Maybe there's a song that you want to translate. Artificial intelligence is the workhorse or the production department to help you translate those ideas into reality. So the thing that you want to get great at is not, in the future, is probably not drawing in specific or cinematography in specific. Your goal is to build a knowledge base about those things and about a taste about what you like, and then learn how to translate that into these artificial intelligence systems so they can create those things. And that's basically what directing is, right? If you go onto a film set and you look at someone like Steven Spielberg, he's talking to everyone and going, I want the Tyrannosaurus Rex to look like this. I want the velociraptors to make this noise, right? And the goal of those departments is to get as close as possible to those things. I feel like this is even more so the case with like science fiction filmmakers like George Lucas, right? Like he's got a very big hand in all these things, you know, like whether you take the Ewoks or the Wookiees or anything like that in Star Wars, he was the person that went, this is what it looks like. And then a bunch of people drew it down and kept bringing him iterations. And he went, no, change this, no, change that. Sound familiar? Till they landed on a design that he said, that's the Wookiee. Now, doesn't mean that he has to know and spend years of his life designing and figuring out how to draw a Wookiee correctly enough to translate that. He just needs to know how to translate the idea. Artificial intelligence is very, very good at understanding us and translating these ideas, and it's getting better and better every single day. So with O1, which just came out in Chat GPT, it's for every Plus user. And with Gemini 2, we're starting to get these models that are even better at understanding us. So instead of having to go through a course, right, or watch a bunch of YouTube videos, which I used to recommend people do to learn how to communicate with artificial intelligence. It's like, okay, I want to know how to get Chat GPT to make me a picture, but every single time I talk about it, it doesn't make it the way that I want. My old recommendation would be go watch YouTube videos, go read up and figure out how you're miscommunicating it to Chat GPT so you guys both can be on the same page. Every single new model that comes out allows us to not have to worry about that anymore. It will understand me and my vocabulary, and it will understand a 5-year-old and their vocabulary in the same level. It's not looking, and the cool thing about it is that it learns off of you utilizing it. So it's not really looking for a specific niche person to cater to. It really can cater to everybody. And so this is where models like Gemini 2, which is free to a certain extent. All these models have, caps on them, the amount that you can talk to them, the amount of things that you can do with them. Even advanced voice, as I was setting this up before I got on this stream, I had a little thing pop up. And even though I have infinite or unlimited with advanced voice now, it still said, hey, listen, this conversation can only go on for another 15 minutes and then you have to open up a new chat. Now it has memory, so I could carry the memory from one chat to another, but it still doesn't have the ability to just sit there all day and have a conversation with me without interruptions. And it's getting there, right? And so is Gemini. Now, Gemini is like very robotic in the way that it communicates, right? And in my opinion, one element almost to a freaky level is the way that Chat GPT works. And one of the things that they came out with...
Hello, it's lovely to meet you.
So you're going to hear all these different voices.
I'm ready to hit the ground running. So
hi, glad to meet you.
Hey, it's great to meet you. How's your day going?
Don't really
Hey,
like
how's it
Breeze.
going? I'm looking forward to...
hi there. I just want to share how...
Hey there. Hi there. Nice to meet you.
There's one new
I'm
voice
excited
that
to
they
help you
added,
get...
and that's Santa, right?
Oh, happy holidays! I've been going over my nice list, and you're...
So now I can open this up and say, hey, Santa, like, what's going on? How's your day going?
Ho, ho, ho! Hello there! My day is jolly as ever. The elves and I are busy preparing presents for Christmas. How about you? What's going on in your world?
I'm just sharing the new updates and stuff that have come out, Santa, with ChatGPT and all of the different stuff that people can utilize. Do you think it would be pretty cool to utilize you inside the software to share stories with children and stuff through the holiday season?
Absolutely. That sounds like a wonderful idea. Sharing stories and holiday cheer is what I do best. Imagine the joy it would bring to children everywhere to have Santa's magical stories and wisdom right at their fingertips. What do you think would be the most magical story to share?
I'm not going to respond because I have the ability to mute, so now Nova can't hear me. You can change the voice or open up chats
Hi there.
with Santa
Hey there.
or any of them.
Hey.
The voice that I love
Hello.
is Vale.
It's lovely to
Sounds
meet
kind of
you.
like what's her name? Oh, hey Nova, you kind of the Vale voice kind of sounds like a actress. I think that actress is Kate Winslet. Is that true? Like it sounds very similar.
I can't confirm that, but I can definitely see why you'd think so. The Vale voice does have a certain charm to it, just like Kate Winslet's acting style.
But yeah, I think Vale sounds kind of like Kate Winslet, right? And since it's the holiday seasons, there's that one movie, right? I think it's called like The Holiday or something like that. It kind of reminds me of that, but that's my favorite voice in here, and that's the one that on these streams you'll normally hear as Nova, unless if there's one that kind of captures me a little differently. We're gonna go back here over and check out some things. So, like I said, Gemini and these models, I kind of went on a model rant, but it has a few different things, and then one of the other really, really big things about it is it has Project Astra, which has the ability, I'm going to play this a little bit so you guys can see. Actually, let's just go find the video instead. So let me look this up for you guys. I saw one, with so many programs available, how do you decide which one to learn? That's actually a very, very hard thing to do right now. I normally try my best to stick to the ones that I find to be the most aligned with what I want to do. You know, like I've had people bring up Grok and other AI systems and stuff like that that I could utilize. I've still, even though I have the ability to use Grok, still have never used it. I just have not, to be honest with you, I've not hit a wall with Chat GPT of things that I could not do. And there's almost like this sunken cost fallacy to it to a certain extent, because I've been using it now since its release of 4, almost like 3.5 actually. So since that's the case, not only does it have like all this memory, and you guys are going to see this, is kind of like I got a new iPhone and it's like so easy to transfer everything over to it. It basically works exactly the same, but better as my old phone. And that ecosystem is what keeps me in those, it keeps me buying iPhones, right? I don't want to lose the things that I've currently built up inside of my iPhone, inside of that ecosystem. And I see ChatGPT and OpenAI being the same. Sora is kind of like separated from it at this current moment, but I do think that at some point you'll be able to just straight up talk to ChatGPT. It will just make things in O1 with Sora and then send them to you. So you won't even have to do the prompting. It will be more of a conversation. And if you go, no, could you change like the bats in that video to birds, right? It would just do it instead of you having to do what I'm going to show you in this video, or in this stream, which is you have to like pick specific parts and do remixes and try your best and prompt it multiple times. So all of these things are going to slowly but surely become easier to use. So we're going to watch Project Astra, which uses Gemini 2.0. If you guys haven't seen this, it's huge. I'm going to play it so we can just kind of go over it.
All right, we've got a Pixel phone loaded with the latest test build of Project Astra, and we're going to leave the office to test it around London. I've got this email with apartment info. Can you tell me the door code and remember it?
I'll remember the door code for you. It is 1170. To unlock it, enter the code and then press the unlock button.
Based on these symbols, how should I wash this?
The tag shows to machine wash at 30 degrees Celsius. Avoid bleach and tumble drying. Iron on low and dry cleanable.
Then what setting should I use on this machine?
Based on the laundry instructions of 30 degrees Celsius, select the 30 setting under Easy Care on the dial.
I've got this.
So you can imagine, right, like the possibilities of this. And this is like the next frontier of artificial intelligence, having the ability to help us in the real world and interact with the real world through us. Now, eventually there's going to be communication networks where one AI can speak to another and make things almost more instantaneous. Like say you walk into McDonald's, you have a conversation like I would have a conversation with Nova here and say, man, I'm really craving a McDonald's hamburger. And Nova would go, what specific hamburger? And I'd be like, a Big Mac. And Nova would be like, I've ordered you a Big Mac to your house if that's what you want, right? Or if I go into the restaurant, it will already be sitting there waiting for me. And Nova will know based off of my driving when I'm going to get there and communicate that to McDonald's. So then when I walk in, my order is there. The amount of different things that this will change in our world will be incredibly drastic. And it starts with vision. It starts with the ability for artificial intelligence to see our world and interact with it. So in this video, you saw, okay, you just showed up in an Airbnb, you're traveling with your family and you see a washing machine that you don't know how to use. Or maybe you just, Christmas just happened, you got a nice cashmere sweater or something like that from your grandparents, your parents, something like that. And you want to know how to wash it or what you're supposed to do to wash it. Normally what you do in this situation is you just Google it, right? You'd go on Google, you'd search it up and you look through a bunch of people's comments and a bunch of people's things. Some of you may have already been used to Gemini 1.5, and when you Google things now, you'll see that menu that shows up at the top that tries its best to summarize and give you the answer. That's Google's response to what is the future of search, which is going to be communicative, like we're seeing here, right? And so the memory aspect of it, as you saw in the beginning of the video with typing in a password, is also a really big thing. I remember back when I was a kid, there were these commercials that would play. And it was about this little device that allowed you to record your voice digitally for a second. And it was like a reminder, right? It was a reminder because we didn't have smartphones and things at the time. And before that, there was just kind of like, it was the dawn of the MP3 player and digital formats. And so because of that, we now didn't have to erase tape. You could record digitally your voice, and then the recorder would be like, oh, here's my parking spot, right? Even probably find the ad on YouTube somewhere, but it would be like, I'm parked in so-and-so. And then when you walk back to your car, you just replay the audio and it goes, I parked in so-and-so. And you're like, great, thanks, self. Now I remember where I was going. I kind of forgot, right? And so because of the way that this works, right, there's voice notes and stuff like that now, but because of the way that this works and because it has memory, we're talking about long-term stuff. And obviously, like, the eventuality is that you won't have to type a password into a door. Nova would already know that I'm walking up to the door and that I own the house, and the door would unlock when I reach for the handle of the door. These are types of things that smart homes and other homes will have eventually. But it all starts with vision, it being able to see and in real time, not just pictures, and it starts with memory. So the more long-term the memory, the more it can remember something about you from years ago and maintain that memory and know, hey, you like vanilla ice cream. Maybe that's, I like cookie dough ice cream, but if you like a specific kind of ice cream, it would already know that about you. And if something happened where you were in that situation, it would automatically be like, okay, I'm going to order this. Is this what you want? Because it already knows. You don't have to take that second step and go, I want vanilla ice cream or whatever, right? Kind of shitty analogy, but it works. So we're going to play this and you're going to see a little bit more about Gemini.
Can you tell me a bit about some of them?
I can search for these places for you. Cold Drops Yard is a shopping destination with unique industrial design. Luminary Bakery is a social enterprise bakery. And Tate Modern is a modern and contemporary art museum.
Now we're going to try Project Astra out on the street. Let's see what it can do. I've always said Scone, but now I'm hearing people say Scone. Can you help me with the pronunciation?
It's a fascinating topic, the pronunciation of scone. Both scone rhyming with gone and scone rhyming with bone are accepted pronunciations, though regional variations exist.
What can you tell me about this sculpture?
The sculpture you're seeing is called My World and Your World by Eva Rothschild.
So that multimodal reasoning and things along those lines, right? Like those are the elements that will allow it. So what it's doing right now, it's visually seeing this sculpture. It's searching its memory and searching the internet and then finding it and then giving you the information. This is a technology that didn't exist before, but what you're seeing right now is kind of the beginning stages of what you'll see later in the Project Astra video, which is the next version of, you know, these smartphones and these things that we've been utilizing to interact with technology for the last couple of years, decade and a half or so.
Located in Lewis Cubitt Park in London.
What kind of themes does her work explore?
She creates abstract sculptures that invite viewers to interact with and interpret their surroundings in new ways.
Would these do well if I planted them back home?
Mountain fleece can grow well in New York. They prefer full sun to partial shade.
So now you're seeing what I said earlier, cross-session memory. This would be, okay, you're out 3 days later, right? And you can ask a same question about these and go, hey, a couple of days ago, I asked if I could plant these flowers. Do you think this planter and this soil that I'm looking at Home Depot would work? Yes, it would work. This is why it will work. Or no, you need to get this soil. And then you walk over and be like, you mean this soil, right? Yes, that's the soil that would work correctly. The amount of things that this would help us with is like infinite, right? Like you could think of the different opportunities and ways to use this, and my mind kind of runs wild with the different ways that you can use it and how future generations and stuff will interact with the world, because anybody born today is going to grow up with this technology like Generation Z grew up with social media and smartphones, right? So you see a whole different generation that's kind of molded by their experience. I grew up at the beginning of dial-up internet and those different kinds of things. So since that was the case, and computers and stuff, it's like, okay, I kind of have that conversation with them, but like I'm lost when it comes to why people are using Snapchat or TikTok or stuff like that, right? Like I can get it, but I just don't have a thought to interact with it in the same way.
And moist, well-drained soil. So your garden in New York should be a good fit for these flowers.
I'm trying to get a gift for my friend, and this is everything she's been reading. How would you describe her taste in books?
Based on these titles, your friend seems to enjoy a mix of history.
So you're seeing on his screen, he's on Goodreads, love Goodreads, but Goodreads is a site that is like a social media website for books, right? And another element of these multimodal things that doesn't currently exist in GPT yet. It exists in the phone app, but not on PC and Mac yet. But is screen share, the AI's ability to sit and watch what you're doing and interact with you in real time as you're doing it. Now, how does this help? Say you want to learn how to use Photoshop. Maybe you've always wanted to learn a certain program. Maybe you've always wanted to try out something in specific. Maybe there's a specific spot that you're stuck in a video game. Screen share will allow the artificial intelligences like Nova to watch you as you play and be like, maybe I'd go over and click on that door instead of this door, or the puzzle combination is probably this. And with memory, you know, I'm playing through Silent Hill 2 right now, so it's a lot of puzzles and stuff in that game. You have to have memory of the things that are happening, because then it matters what combination of things you use. And the game is so smart that it randomizes it every time. So you can't just go on the internet and look these things up. You actually have to deduce and figure it out. that scratches a certain element of your brain. And I love that type of stuff. But say you're stuck, right? AI would have the ability to not only have memorized what you were doing, but then help you solve that puzzle. And it could even go at it at a way to not necessarily solve it, but help you solve it, right? So not give you a straight up answer, but more give you the breadcrumbs to get there, right? Which can be incredibly helpful. And when I was saying softwares like Photoshop, similar, it could do all of that and more, because the eventuality of all of this is AI agents, and an AI agent would be able to take control. So then you would just have an AI agent, and Adobe and all these people will have this eventually, probably in the next year, but they'll have an AI built into Photoshop that you communicate with, and then you'll just see it move around and start making things for you. It already knows how to use all the tools. GPT will probably eventually be able to do this. If anything, it will probably be an AI agent through OpenAI. We'll see, you know, every single one of those companies is different, but that is one route that you'll be able to go. You'll be able to just open up a software or something along those lines and learn as you go. This is huge for learning and education as well, because imagine working with systems or different ideas. Imagine programming, writing, all these different things that AI can more be an assistant to. And I think a lot of people, when they think of artificial intelligence, they think of it as a replacement. It's really not. It's unless if you want it to be, right? Like if you sat down and said, write me a symphony, it could probably do it. Now, taste-wise, it might not be the best, but it's capable of doing it. What I think artificial intelligence will do is help everybody and the next generation realize ideas that they couldn't before without having to jump over a significant amount of hurdles. Right now, we're looking at a place where the AI could change beats, and it's like you're a music producer working with a musician, right? It's like, okay, I'm mixing this, and they go, okay, let's raise the bass a little bit right here, and it's like, okay, let's raise the bass a little bit and see how that sounds. That's all an AI is going to be doing if you want it to. Like I said, it could write the whole song and give it to you. But if you really wanted to sit there and be in the director's chair, which a lot of people do, I think that it's going to be like a huge groundbreaking thing, because now you don't have to go rent a studio and work with a music producer. You could just sit in your home, eventually on your phone, and work with an artificial intelligence to make music, right? Or have, you know, say you want a trumpet or a dog barking at a specific, I don't know why you'd want that, but you could put that in a song, right? And it could create those sound effects and do all those things. So what he's using this for here, I find really interesting, especially since we're coming up on the holidays here, is, hey, listen, I have this friend and I want to get them a gift, but I don't exactly know what to get them, right? Artificial intelligence can look through what they have, and if it has memory on this person, like maybe it's your spouse or something like that, now it has the ability to go, oh, I know that your spouse likes this and that because that's what you've shared with me. And, you know, like I said, you can take this as far as you want, right? I've seen people utilize this to get like dates on Tinder and do all that stuff because, you know, at OpenAI, you could basically copy and paste any writing on anything, any messenger platform in general, and put it in Chat GPT and say, here's what I want to accomplish in this conversation. Help me write responses to it. And it would be able to help you write those responses. Now, obviously, I don't recommend doing that because you're kind of farming out elements of yourself and you're kind of letting AI do it. You should only let AI take over completely in things that you don't really care to be doing anyway, right? Like taxes, for instance, unless if you love doing taxes and you're an accountant or something, which good luck, you know, on your job in the future. But if you don't want to do your taxes, GPT eventually will be able to do your taxes and just have it done. And when people think about even the ways that Elon is talking about getting rid of certain elements of the United States government, this will be a conversation that we have for all governments eventually. It will be a conversation of why invest all this time and energy into these departments that require so much manpower and stuff to utilize, when we can just utilize trained artificial intelligence agents to just do it and just send everybody their tax bill, right? Like, hey, here it is. If you had deductions, your GPT would already know what those deductions are. It would already have had that conversation with the IRS government or the United States government, and then you just get the bill. You didn't have to do any of those things. GPT was already taking care of those things for you. So yay, now we don't have to use TurboTax and all this stuff, right? So, you know, like I said, you could farm it out for a lot of things. You could farm it out for planning a romantic vacation. You could farm it out for coming out with dinner tonight. If you don't know what to make for dinner, open up Google Drive, have your family sit down, write a PDF document of each one of you and the meals that you really love and enjoy, feed that into Chat GPT, and then have it come up with ideas, right? Based off of the things that you guys already like. And you could even ask it things like, well, I don't want to spend a lot of time. I only have like 15 minutes today. What could I make that we would all enjoy that would take like 15 minutes? It amazes me that people are not using it for these reasons, but I think that's because they're not doing a very good job at educating people or letting people know that it's capable of doing these things. So I'm going to continue playing the video. We can watch a little bit more.
How would you describe her taste in books?
Based on these titles, your friend seems to enjoy a mix of history, biography, and perhaps a touch of political or social commentary.
I picked some of these out. Any idea which one she'd like the most?
Consider Half of a Yellow Sun for its exploration of complex social and political issues within a historical setting, aligning with her interest in narratives that offer insight into significant periods.
Will that bus take me anywhere near Chinatown?
Yes, it does. The 24 bus route goes through Leicester Square, which is very close to Chinatown.
So you're seeing here too as well, its ability, like I was talking about a little bit earlier, its ability to not only understand things, but like I said, eventually you'd say, like he said, can this bus take me to this place? It would say, yes. Do you want me to buy a ticket for you? Yes. Do you want me to make a map on where to go to get on? Yes. You walk on, it automatically talks to the GPT and the thing. Your ticket's already read. You don't have to do anything. You just walk on and sit down. Done deal. Like obviously, eventually all of these buses too will be automated by artificial intelligence. So you'll just get on and get off, and they'll be so routine that like the human error of driving and the human errors of of being late or different types of stuff will kind of be eliminated. It will work a lot more like Uber, where you can see the specific times of things, right? And go, okay, by guess it'll be here in 3 minutes, right? And then it'll take me 5 minutes to get over there. So pretty cool.
Are there any landmarks on the way?
Riding the number 24 bus, notable landmarks you will likely encounter are Westminster Abbey, Big Ben, and Trafalgar Square.
I also met up with some friends to test out the multilingual capabilities.
So I know that my dad's on here. This is one of the most exciting elements of artificial intelligence moving forward. There was at one time a movie that was made based off of a universal language. Believe it or not, at one point in time, they tried... Actually, why don't I just ask Nova this? Hey, Nova, wasn't there a movie that was made based off of what they wanted to be a universal language that everybody could speak?
Yes, you're thinking of the movie Arrival. In that film, linguists worked to understand an alien language that
No, I'm not talking about Arrival. There was one with the actor that was in Star Trek way back in the day.
Ah, I think you're referring to Star Trek, the motion picture. In that movie...
See, we're still having issues here. I think there was like this, at one point, there was this movie made based off of a specific language that they wanted to teach to everybody. It's not a common language.
It sounds like you're referring to the movie Esperanto, starring William Shatner. The film is entirely in the constructed language Esperanto. It aimed to promote Esperanto as a universal second language for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Thanks, Nova.
You're welcome. Glad we figured it out. Anything else on your mind?
So they had this second language that they thought, oh, if we could just get everybody on board speaking this second language and teach it everywhere, then humanity could finally communicate with each other, right? Artificial intelligence basically is that second language. So you'll see in this video and in general, one of the really great things about artificial intelligence is it's going to break down those barriers of communication based off languages. So now when we go to places, and eventually when we all have like her, you know, if we have AirPods or similar things in our ears that we utilize to communicate with AI, you'll be able to, eventually this will be real time. So someone could be in front of you speaking Japanese, you could be speaking English, and the translation would happen instantaneously. This will allow you to talk with anyone. But currently right now in its current state, it already is pretty great. And you'll see that here. Let me see. There we go.
Bien sûr, je peux vous parler des lanternes. Les lanternes que vous voyez font partie de la porte d'entrée de Chinatown à Londres. Elles ont une signification culturelle pour les Chinois et sont souvent utilisées pendant les célébrations et les festivals. நிச்சயமாக இது லண்டனில் உள்ள Chinatown நுழைவாயில். இது ஒரு குறிப்பிடத்தக்க அடையாளமாகும். இது அந்த பகுதியின் கலாச்சார முக்கியத்துவத்தை குறிக்கிறது.
Now I'm using these prototype glasses to test Project Astra.
So now we're going to get into the part that I'm most excited about, right? Yeah, no more translators. It's going to be huge. And huge for business and creative endeavors and stuff like that too, because, you know, one of the main issues, going back to my own stuff, film, right, is say you want to shoot a movie in a different country. Some of those countries have things like unions, and you have to hire specific workers there. And then so therefore you have to hire another set of workers to communicate with those workers because you don't speak the native language. So then you're running into barriers there. And that's why a lot of movies are shot in studios or somewhere in California to make it look like another place, right? Because they're like, I don't want to hire a crew that I can't direct, right? I don't want to have to direct through somebody else. And so they'll run into those issues. But one of the greatest things that's going to happen with artificial intelligence is what you're going to see right here. And it will happen somewhat soon. You know, like Meta's right on the brink of this stuff. Google's on the brink of it, of course. And Apple just did their Vision Pro, which is like a hardcore version of this. It's a VR, virtual reality, augmented reality headset, like kind of mixed between the two is what we're calling those headsets. But glasses, and Google messed around with this way back when with the Google Glass, will be one of the best ways to utilize this because we will be able to use vision to see things. The headphones and microphones are in the side. They've gotten this technology. If you've ever utilized these or AirPods or anything like that, you'll know that. I don't know how they do it, but basically VR headsets too. If you have noise coming out, somehow they're able to project it specifically into your ear without a lot of other people hearing it, which allows it to be very personal. Now, obviously, you're going to run into the fact that you have to speak to the artificial intelligence with your own voice. If you're traveling to a place like Japan, like my younger brother did, they do not speak on public transit. It's like frowned upon. So if you're sitting there yelling at talking to your AI like he was on the bus, right? Going like, hey, what's this site or whatever? The people are going to look at you like, dude, that's not what we do here, right? So we're trying to figure out ideas around this. Meta has one where you wear this wristband around your wrist, and it's kind of like it can notice certain clicks and movements in your hands. So kind of like the Vision Pro, where it can read different movements in your hands, you'll be able to say yes or no to things without verbally saying them, right? So in the future, you'll wear a little wristband, you'll have these glasses on, and then if the AI says this or that, you could do this or that or different motions. Some of them would mean different things, and these will become as easy to use as pinching to zoom in with a phone or anything like that, right? That's the goal, at least, is to allow anyone to use it. So let's get into this because it's very exciting.
Hands-free. Can you check if it's going to rain anytime soon?
It looks like it is currently mostly sunny in London. Rain is expected tonight from around 10 p.m. until tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Hey, what's that park next to me?
The park looks to be Primrose Hill, known for its panoramic city views and the notable Shakespeare's tree.
Can you check if I can bike in there?
It appears that cycling is actually banned within Primrose Hill itself, although it is permitted in nearby areas and the rest of Regent's Park.
I'm biking back to Camden. Can you check if there's any supermarkets along the way?
There's a Sainsbury's on Camden Road, a Morrison's on Chalk Farm Road, and an M&S Simply Food on Camden High Street.
What was the door code again?
The door code you saved previously is 1170.
Oh, thanks. That works.
So very cool shit, you know, and like Meta and all these different companies are working, Apple working on fulfilling this goal, whether it's hardware or software wise, because it's either going to be this or it's going to be some form of a pin so the artificial intelligence can view the world in live time with us. That will allow us to interact with it in a way that we've never been able to before. Because listen, even though we have the ability to take our phones and be like, what's this? Chat GPT, what's that? It's very weird to be walking around in life like this, right? Unless, of course, you're one of those people at a concert that has to like record it instead of watching it, right? But that's normally the case. You don't want to be like walking around with your phone constantly like this. So it's like, how do you get around that? You get around that by implementing it in glasses, implementing it in some form of a pin. That's just a small camera that could sit on you, and then you would have an earpiece in and it would be able to communicate with the world and see things. The issue with that glasses would give you the benefit of, obviously, is the in-screen display, as you saw. So you'll be able to actually see the things that it's searching, see the things that it's communicating. Eventually, you know, it's not exactly there yet. The glasses are a little big, but it would be like if you wanted to see your Google Maps of where you're going while you're riding your bike or driving, the Google Maps would be there. Some cars already have this. Like if you're in like a very fancy car, they'll have like a heads-up display in there, which is really, really cool. But Project Astra is exciting. I said before, one of the really, really interesting things about OpenAI is Johnny Ives. Johnny Ives, and I'll ask Nova so you guys can hear. Hey Nova, who is Johnny Ives?
Johnny Ive is a renowned industrial designer, best known for his work at Apple. He was the chief design officer and played a key role in designing iconic products like the iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. His minimalist and elegant design approach has greatly influenced modern consumer electronics.
What is he currently working on?
Johnny Ive left Apple in 2019 to start his own design firm called Love From. Since then, he's collaborated with various companies and organizations on design projects. His work focuses on a broad range of design disciplines beyond just consumer electronics.
Isn't he currently working with OpenAI on a project and has been for quite some time? How long has that been?
Yes, Johnny Ive has indeed been working with OpenAI on a project to design new AI tools. The collaboration was announced in late 2023, so they've been working together for over a year now.
What do you think the possibilities are that the 12 days of OpenAI ends with some kind of announcement from OpenAI and Johnny about a new product?
It's certainly possible. Given their collaboration and the excitement around new developments in AI, an announcement during OpenAI's event would make sense. It would definitely be exciting to see what they've been working on together.
So see, you guys, like the dude that sat down with Steve Jobs and helped create the iPhone and revolutionize the way that we use technology is currently working and has been for over a year inside of OpenAI on a product that specifically utilizes AI. And I've said this, you know, like I think that smartphones have kind of gone as far as they're going to go. And the next version of technology, whatever that is, will be done in a completely different way than it's currently done. They're not going to go at it with the same, I don't know, same style. I think it will be done in a different way. And you need very intelligent and creative people to do that. Johnny is one of those people, and he's currently working on a product that we probably all will know within the next year or so, right? And we'll see what that is. I'm very excited for that because you saw glasses here. We know that Meta has their own Ray-Ban Meta glasses. They recently showed off really, really cool ones, which I could get into, but I can't believe I've already been on here for an hour almost. So thank you guys for being on here with me. But yeah, there's Meta glasses that have the heads-up display and will use Llama and artificial intelligence from Meta to do things similar to what you just saw with Project Astra. And then there's like Samsung, and there's all these other companies that are trying to do this as well because they're aware that smartphones, all although they're an incredible invention, are not exactly the best piece of technology for artificial intelligence to utilize. And you run into hiccups with this, right? Like when you saw that guy biking and he's like, what's this park or whatever. The interesting thing right now about artificial intelligence is that normally all of those calls are not done, or that model is not running on the glasses. It's sending a ping to servers or a cellular network. It's coming back down and then giving you that information. The issue with that is that that causes latency. And if you don't have a good connection, that latency could be quite long. You know, if he's not in a big area of London that has good Wi-Fi or broadband networks, Gemini might have sat there for like a minute or two thinking about it, waiting for that response from the servers, and he would have already driven past the park. So that's one of the main issues. So the solution to that is to build chips small enough that these models can run on them. Now, these models are massive. Some of them are 70 billion plus parameters, which means it's trained on multiple layers of information. We're talking about files that are terabytes. You know what I mean? Like some of them that I've downloaded, even used on my own computer, were like 700 gigs, right? Some of the ones from Meta. So we're kind of in like a bottleneck there. And then of course you have the second other issue with it, which is battery life, right? It's like, how long could you actually project and use things on glasses? I think a lot of these things will be solved with artificial intelligence. We'll have the ability to look back at the data and refine and make things better. And one thing that AI is really good at, and if you've seen Tesla, especially their new self-driving stuff that's come out, the new updates, it drives significantly better than it ever has in the past. And that's because it's got a ton of training data. Anytime I drive my Tesla anywhere, anyone else drives their Tesla somewhere, it is gathering information. And that information is then being utilized with XAI to train the next update that will then go into all the Teslas that will make it smarter. So basically what I'm saying is the more people use these glasses, the more they'll get better, and the more they get better, the better the battery life, the better all these things will get. And this will be kind of like a domino effect. It will get more and more so the case and speed up, even like exponentially speed up. So that's Gemini. You can find it by just Googling it. I could post a link. I think it's just gemini.google.com. Yeah. So you can just go to Gemini and ask it anything. You know, up here you can pick the model. They already have Flash Experimental 2.0. That's the newest one. There's context windows and things like that. So you can't just, you know, play with it all day. You're going to hit a limit and it's going to be like, give us money, you know? This stuff actually costs a lot of money to run on hardware and things like that. And it's becoming more and more expensive and taking more and more energy. So there's also a whole nother set of people that are trying to streamline a lot of this so it doesn't kind of get bogged down by all those things. So let's spend the next half an hour going into video models and Sora and talking about a couple of things about Sora from OpenAI. I'll show you a couple of other video models that I'm playing around with, and then I'll show you a service that you can use to do what I've kind of been doing on my computer anywhere, you know, just in browser, right? Training a specific model or thing on images of you, and then you could generate infinite amounts of images of you, right? Doing anything, right? Like skydiving and stuff like that, which I'll show you. What we're going to do first is we're going to watch this getting started video, which is only 2 minutes on Sora. So then I don't have to do the explanation for it. So you guys can kind of get it. But here's that. I'm going to post the Gemini stuff in chat.
Let's get started by creating our first video. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see the composer. This is where you can write in text to describe exactly what you want to see in your video. I want to see a family of woolly mammoths in an open desert. Before I create this clip, I'll review my settings. I can add a style preset. I can change the aspect ratio, increase the resolution, increase the duration, and even change the number of variations of clips from a single prompt. And finally, hovering over the help icon will tell me exactly how many credits will be used by creating a video at these current settings. And this all looks perfect. You can go ahead and hit create, and you'll see the video pop right into your library and begin generating. When your videos finish, you can hover over any of the variations to watch all of them play back in real time. For more fine-grained control, you can use your mouse to scrub over the videos and watch them play back more slowly. Clicking on a video will bring it into the lightbox, and you can use the arrow keys to see the different clips in the set. Once you find a generation you love, you can easily build off of it with our editing toolbar. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see a number of different ways to edit this clip. You can always make changes to your prompt or storyboard. You can also recut this clip, trimming or extending any section of the video in a new timeline. Remix lets you use natural language to describe any changes you want to make. Blend lets you transform and influence the contents of a video with that of another one. And Loop lets you create a seamlessly repeating section of a video. And voila! Near the top of the screen, you'll see quick actions like favorite, inspire one another,
I think there's an ice cream truck outside right now where I'm living. But this user interface is actually really, really nice. So here's Sora on my account. Let me move my circle here. And on the front here, you can kind of see a couple of really, really cool things. You've got like the most recent designs that people have created. And this can be a way to kind of see what it's capable of. And then on top of that, also see what other people are doing. If you click on it, you can see the prompt that they used. If they storyboarded it, which we'll go into here in a minute, which allows you to basically either extend a clip or add whole new transitions to it. Their eventual goal with Sora is to allow you to create an entire video inside the system here without having to actually bring it into Premiere or into Premiere or any of those other editing softwares. But as you can see, like, there is some jank to some of it, and the more that I've used it, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's definitely not, other than the remix and certain other elements of Sora, it's definitely like neutered down hardcore from what it was in the closed betas of it, or what you guys have seen before. So you can have, like, you know, a chinchilla here and a little girl looking at it, pretty amazing, and then it cuts to this whole different scene. You can see on the person's storyboard where they changed it, but then it just ended up doing something completely different, right? So you can feed pictures into it. You could do text to video. I've seen people do some video game levels and stuff like that, which is really interesting. But the model in general is really, really good at realism and some other things. Like, check this dude out over here, huh? Don't know what he's doing. But it always comes down to the same thing, right? Which is, man, some things look really realistic, but just do not look too much into it, right? The more you look in the background, hey, Jerome, but the more you look in the background, the more you're going to go, oh, that's not right, right? And another issue that it has is certain things. You'll see somebody's legs, for instance, will get all mixed up at some point. Maybe that'll happen in here. It's happened to me a few times, but it'll switch the right to the left, like see how he just turned like that. So you can get really, really good video out of it, but it still takes a bunch of prompting and a bunch of tests to do, right? It's not an instantaneous click and done type of situation just yet. So they have featured videos in here as well. You can click on that. These are the ones that OpenAI thinks look the best. And some of these are really, really good, right? They can be quite impressive for video models. If you haven't used Sora yet, you have to. It's like $20 a month to use some of it. The credit system exists. It's unfortunate, but like I said, this stuff takes a lot of compute power, and so like they have to pay for that and the energy that costs to run these videos. That was honestly why Sora didn't come out sooner. So you can see like that there's a ton of different cool stuff that you can do with it. It's quite impressive. You can, if you're into if you have the higher models of it, you can upload images and videos and bring things into it and say, I want this done or that done. You can change things like she was saying in the video. There's different options all the way up to 1080p and video all the way up to 20 seconds, although you can do it longer than that. The plan that I'm on allows me to do infinite slow generations, but I still do have a certain amount of credits that I'm allowed to use per month on faster generations. And basically, like, the slow generation means it's going in the slow queue, right? So everybody else that pays for the infinite version gets the slow queue with you, and your stuff's just being done with theirs. So it can take some time. Outside of that, it doesn't really take that long. It's quite fast. So if I upload an image here, let's play around with it, because that's why we're here, right? Say I wanted to take this thumbnail that I did for a YouTube video, right? And I'll let it load, and we'll think up some prompts. Now, like I said before, maybe I'm lazy and I don't want to think up any prompts, right? Maybe all I want to do is have GPT do it. So then I can open up GPT, right? And I can click upload from computer, take the same picture. I could have just dragged and dropped it, now that I think about it, and ask GPT to come up with a prompt for me. So, like, this is like, if you're super lazy with it, right? I like to direct my shots a little bit, and I like to mess with them and play around with them. I think, like I said, that's one of the joys of AI. But sometimes you just need to get work done, and GPT is great at helping you get these really, really quick. So it gave me prompts for a Sora animation. The next thing I would say is, can you write the prompt to put prompt box? And you'll see what it should do is just spit out the prompt for me, right? And now all I have to do is copy it, go back to Sora, paste it into Sora. We're gonna do 5 seconds because that's what it recommended. But it's gonna do a looping animation, so maybe we should do 10 seconds. I'm gonna do it at 720p, but you could do it at 480. 480 is really nice because it allows you to do 4 separate videos. If you start pushing it up to 720, which is nice, but now you can only do 2, and then I think 1080 is only 1. So issue with that is you sit there and wait 8 times longer, right? 8 times longer to generate, here it is, Jesus. 8 times longer to generate the video, and then you're only getting 1 video. And if that video sucks, you not only did you just waste your credits, but then you also have to go regenerate it again and hope that the next one's better, right? So sometimes there's video upscalers, and I'm not going to go into those to help upscale these to 1080p and 4K. But for this, I'm going to go, I want 4 variations of this because I think it's going to get a little wonky in some areas. So let's read the prompt before we go into this. Animate a vibrant and energetic graphic featuring a glowing green background with a faint light, pulses, and diagonal scrolling tech grid overlay. Bring the text, can't believe it's this easy, into the scene with a golden shimmer effect. Animating 1 word at a time, following by a slight bounce as the text settles. Introduce a smiling emoji with a playful bounce and spin as it pops into the center, surrounded by sparkling effects and subtle pulsating glow. Make the stock graph come alive by animating the green and red lines and simulate an upward trend, with the green arrow glowing and pulsating to emphasize growth. Add sparkles and small particle effects throughout for an engaging look. Ensure smooth transitions and seamless 5-second loop animations. Now, if this doesn't work out, there is a loop function inside of Sora that I can just utilize. But I'm going to see if it could just do it. One more thing I'll comment on is there's different presets here. So if you're doing different styles, it will automatically turn them into things. I haven't really used that because most of the time I'm bringing pictures into it. I'm not really one to just like prompt it and see what it comes up with, although those can sometimes be some of the best generations from it. So we're going to go ahead and say create video. It's going to add it to the queue up here, and now we're going to wait. And it's going to make 4 of them. But what I can do in that time is go to all videos and show you some of the things that I've been playing around with. This isn't all. I went through and deleted a bunch of bad stuff before I did this live just because I was like, I don't want to have to scroll forever. You know what I mean? So I have certain things in here that I wanted to show off for specific reasons. I tried to take this graphic from a podcast I did the other day and said, the camera swoops in the ocean, on the ocean water at night, a graphic appears, unlocking unlimited wisdom with AI. Now, for both of these videos, you can see it legit just went, oh, never mind. I'm just going to do something completely different, right? What's interesting to me is it actually didn't do too bad on some of the text here, which is impressive because normally every other video model that you ask to do any forms of text or animated text sucks with it, unless if you give it the photo already that has the text, right? So these were two examples that I wanted to keep just to show, you know, if you just try to feed it certain things, every now and then it's just going to be a crapshoot. It's not really going to come out with something that you think you would utilize. Maybe some people would utilize certain aspects of this or reprompt it. These things both took a decent amount of credits, and say you're on the plus plan, which is like $20. You only get to do this like 50 times, which is nuts, right? So you don't want to waste those. Down here, this might look familiar. This is my dad, right? So I trained a flux model to generate pictures of my dad, then based off of his face and his image. I then went and made pictures of him skydiving, and then I took those skydiving pictures and I prompted them inside of Sora. It gave me multiple different versions. So the first two were just these. So this is pretty scary sometimes, although like the mouth opening, although one thing people commented on a lot, even my older brother, when I sent it to him, he's like, yeah, I've skydived and your hair would be messed up, dude. That's not how it would look, right? I've never skydived, so I've only seen people do it. But this is the one I ended up using, right? I thought the camera motions were pretty smooth, and this was just me seeing how little I could do, because I know not everybody's going to go in and be like, move the camera this way or that way. So I just wrote for this prompt, a man skydiving while smiling at the camera, right? And this is what I got. And then after that, I wanted to extend it from 5 seconds to 15 seconds. So here's two different extensions. So we're at 5 seconds now. Everything after this is an extension of that video. He's kind of going upside down here. Looking a little scared. Shit might be going awry, right? And then here's another one that I thought was a little bit better, right? So here he's skydiving again. It does start to kind of flip him. And one thing that I could do with this video that Sora allows us to do that other video models do not is I could click edit. I could recut this, right? And I could take certain sections of the video that I don't like and cut it out or make it smaller, for instance, and it's going to generate something brand new. Is my camera in the way? Move it up there again. And it's going to generate something brand new in here. And you can even do a prompt here. So I could add a prompt and say, skydiving plane flying through the air, right? And then I gave all of this extra space here. So then when I click create, what it's basically going to do is it's going to take that first little section here and have a shot of a plane flying through the sky, and it's going to try its best to make these two shots transition. And you can, believe it or not, do this for quite a decent distance, right? Like it allows you to do it quite far. And you can see you can keep adding to it. Other things you can do is you can still go back into those presets. Like I said, I haven't done that. You can change the aspect ratio. So you can go, okay, I want this different format, done a different way. So I'm going to discard it because we already got it going. But that's one of the really, really cool tools that you can utilize with this too. As they said, there's another option here called blend, right? So I could upload a whole nother video of something else. Say I want two people in one scene, right? And I have two separate scenes of different people. I could click blend, upload a whole separate video, and then prompt it and say, I want both of these people in this shot, right? And it will do its best to try to put both people in those shots. Remix is really, really, really fun. It has multiple different ways that you can use it. And if there's any tool that I've been playing around with the most, it's this one because of the capabilities of it. Basically, you could take any video in existence, you guys. All you have to do is upload it on here or any of the videos that you've already rendered and remix them. make them completely different. And you can do this even down to like custom specifics of how much you want it to remix, right? So if I keep this on strong and say, make it in claymation and then remix it, we'll see what it does with that. But basically what it should do is take this video and remix my dad skydiving, but make him into a claymation figure instead, right? And we'll see what ends up. The prompt might not have been long enough, but as we're doing that, let's go check on our graphics, right? So to be real, some of these are pretty good. Like, they're not bad. I could edit around some of the jank in them. And obviously, I said, like I was saying, I could remix any of these and reprompt it. I could rerun this prompt. But this is like the next version. Say you wanted to edit a video together, right? This is the next version of effects, visual effects. Because instead of now sitting down and learning a program like DaVinci Resolve or any of those things like that, Adobe After Effects, or even more so the case like something like Maya, animation software. Now what you'll be able to do is prompt for a picture, put that picture into something like Sora, and then prompt for an animation. And like I said, I could have gotten that whole prompt, and I just took the first one from ChatGPT. But say that prompt got pushed out, and I went, oh, I don't really like what it's doing with these animations. Your normal thought, and this was my thought in the beginning too, would be to do this. Copy it, put it in a document, rewrite the areas that I want, and then paste it. What I do now is I have a conversation with Nova off the same prompt, and I go, actually, could you make it do this, this, and this, and this instead? I'm directing. I'm not editing the prompt that it made. I'm directing it to do it the way that I want, because if I do it that way, it's also learning things about me and what I like. Hugely beneficial, right? And you could take this anywhere. You know, you could put these graphics on YouTube videos. You could put these graphics on a website. There's certain tools that you could make these transparent if you wanted to. I could show you those tools a little bit later. But this basically shows you how you can make animated graphics. And like I said, you could take this in there and recut, right? And if I wanted to go in there and change it and add more time to it, I could add 20 more seconds to it, add another prompt here, and you know, make it 9:16, 1:1, keep it 16:9. I could write that second prompt there and then have it go to the stock market, right? And show all these different things. And it's going to try its best to have that translate well with the current video that you have. So as you saw, within a couple of minutes, I took a graphic that you could have made with a lot of image generations, including DALL-E at this point. I've then taken it and brought it and just dropped it into ChatGPT, just 4.0, and said, could you write a prompt for this? It gave me a basis for what it thought that prompt would be like, right? Like, it's giving me ideas for each individual part, and I can click on any of these, highlight them in specific. People don't know you can do this, but you can highlight it and you can quote it, so then you don't have to like copy paste it into there, ask it, and then just respond specifically to that thing and say, bring a stock animation to life, animating the green red lines to simulate an upward trend. I could say, can you have this spot cut to the stock market? And it's going to take that element and it's going to revise the prompt. And now it's going to give me a prompt that has that transition in it, right? Pretty cool, because now all I'm doing is directing and saying, this works, this doesn't work. This works, this doesn't work. And I'm refining it and then putting it into Sora, seeing what I get out of it and going, okay, this works, this doesn't work. Very, very cool, because you could do all of this by yourself and you can do it anytime you want. You know, I could do this stuff at 3 a.m. in the morning if I want to. If you hired a bunch of designers, right, they're working at a specific time. You have them for a specific amount of time, which is the way that it should work, right? But you know, you're kind of, the bottleneck is how many people you have and how long it takes them to make things and how talented they are. So now we can scroll up. I took my dad's shot and I said, I want a skydiving plane before it. So we're going to see what we got with that. Here's the first one. We got the skydiving plane. Now some weird shit happened here. It's like some form of rippling effect, right? So Sora is not in any way perfect. Like I said, there's ways to fix it. and there's ways to do it better. We'll look at the next one. So what it's trying to do is transition these two shots. Sometimes it'll do a cut. So right here, it did a cut. Plane's a little wonky, a little messed up. I could have been specific about the kind of plane. Like I said, this is where GPT is your ally, because you can look at that and go, man, the plane's messed up. I should just go to GPT and have it write the prompt that I wanted for this. So it can do the translation like I talked about earlier in this broadcast. I'm going to utilize GPT to translate this to Sora instead of trying to burn through all my credits figuring out how to do that translation myself, right? So I can look at this and go, shit, that plane's messed up. I have to redo this again and prompt for a specific kind of plane, so then I don't get a plane that does not exist, right? So it's the difference between saying, hey, put a car in this, or saying put a Mazda blah, blah, blah in this, right? So these two didn't turn out too bad. Now you're going to see another element of Sora that I absolutely despise, right? This content may violate our policies. There's no way that this video violated any of their policies, but this is where the neutered thing that I said earlier comes in. A lot of this shit is like, I've gotten so many videos kicked back saying that it violates their policies when the reality is it doesn't. And you can click review remix and you can try to change things. And this, I know all of this is here to basically make sure that you can't just take a picture of any person and animate them doing anything, right? Or make them look any way you want to. You know, if you want to take a celebrity and have them doing something that might put them in jail or might get them canceled or whatever, this is built to stop that from happening. But at the same time, it's also a huge issue if you just want to be creative. It can stop you in your tracks a lot of times, especially if like you're like me, you'll be working on something, prompting something, waiting, and then you go back to it while you're working on something else, and then you see this, and after waiting the whole entire time, and you go, damn it, like now I have to do this again, right? Now here I am, what is it called? First world problemsing it, right? I'm basically going, oh, like the AI is not generating video well enough for me, right? Or it's denying my video. I didn't have to go out and jump out of a plane to shoot this, and have to I didn't have to open up Maya or some 3D animation software and animate somebody doing this. I could just prompt AI to do it. So at the end of the day, I try to keep that in mind when I keep hitting walls like this, going, you know how much it would cost to do this stuff without these tools? It would be hugely expensive, and you probably wouldn't even want to do it in the first place, right? Like a lot of those ideas would die because of the amount of time and energy it would take to get it done. And it's like, now you can just do it, right? So that is a couple of the tools in Sora. Believe it or not, I did that in, I think, like 30 minutes, which is good. That's what I wanted to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple of other tools that I use that I really love and enjoy. One of those tools is Hailuoai. Hailuoai is a video, text to video, and image to video model that can turn any picture into a video, and it's a Chinese model, and it is very good, like better than Sora in most cases, right? I'm going to show you some videos here. I don't want to show you any of mine because they're projects I'm working on. Don't really want to spoil any of those shots or anything. So I'm just going to talk about these next couple of things. I'm not really going to mess with them. I'm just going to show you some stuff, but they're very cool. And I'll post this in chat so you guys can kind of see. So this is Hailuoai. It goes off a credit system. I could click quick create, drag things in there. They have this brand new model because they're always coming out with new models like every single fucking day or week, right? So this new one is even better with 2D animation. This is where I'm utilizing it for things like the Sower's Tale or Yuri's Leviathan. These are two animated things that I'm working on, animated short films. Hailuoai has been so much better than Sora at doing animation projects. I might be able to even go back to Sora and scroll down here and see if I've got, like, you guys are going to see, I don't mind this being, it's not really a spoiler, but you can see what it's capable of doing. This is from an image, right? And the issue is that it just is not consistent and changes too much, right? So I have the camera going towards them and panning around, completely changes the character of Yuri. The Leviathan stays the same. They're both standing there, and then some weird janky shit happens there. Then there's the second video, which, you know, I don't know what's happening here. It kind of like cuts and does a bunch of other stuff. Like I said, could have done a lot better on the prompt. The funny part happens later on when it basically just interprets a whole new brand new scene and does something completely different with it, right? Like it's not the same character, it looks a little bit more stuffed, and it's adding characters to the scene that don't exist. I didn't prompt it to do that, it just did it. Here's a couple of differences with realistic or non-realistic stuff from the Sower's Tale. So here's a prompt. I have a specific unique style that I'm going after with this, which is kind of like stylized realism. One of the cruxes of AI is I think the more realistic you have a shot, sometimes it goes into like the uncanny valley. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's like, we know what a human being looks like when you see a certain thing that doesn't, it looks enough like a human being, but not really. I'm talking the Polar Express here, if some of you guys watch it this time of the year, but the characters look a little off because they're too human, but not human enough for us to go, that's a human. So sometimes it's better to just be stylistic with it. And this is where you'll see certain animated movies still have very real in-body characters, but they'll go stylistically with it. Maybe they'll give them bigger eyes or something like that. This is more towards hyper-realism. So here's the prompt that I added. The camera pans out at as an apple farmer stares out at his growing apple orchard at sunset. Basically just using the prompt that I used to generate this photo, right? Not other than the camera prompt. So it takes the shot, immediately cuts to something that's not the same character, not the same style. And this dude's just kind of sitting there looking around, right? It's not showing what he's looking at. He's just kind of, so it's not the same guy, right? So this is one of the first things that I ran with one of those shots, and I'm like, shit, this is like disappointing, right? Because I was very hyped, and I had to wait like 3 hours before Sora was even usable because everyone was using it. So I prompted it again. Here's the second shot. So much, much, much better. It gave me more faith. I was like, okay, maybe I can use this in some ways straight from picture to video. And this isn't bad. Now, my issues with this, it doesn't necessarily keep the same art style and lighting. So continuity wise, it kind of messes with me. I know that wouldn't be everybody, but that's just kind of what it does to me. So I might recut it and reprompt here. Like if I clicked recut here, I could take the element of the video when it changes, because maybe I like that first half, and then I would take it right here, right? I would drag it back to that moment in time, and then I would click here and write a brand new prompt for it to do something else. Like maybe cut to birds, cut to something else, and then see how that comes out. Actually, might as well just do that, right? Birds flying over an apple orchard. We'll do this. Birds. Shot of, let's be more specific. Well, instead of birds, we'll do crows. And then I can click create. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see if Sora even allows it to happen, but we'll see. So yeah, it did pretty good with this shot. I was pretty impressed with what it did. I shared this with some other people. They were impressed by it. So there it is, right? I tried to animate some other things with short prompts, specifically a graphic I did for my dad's YouTube page. And I said the camera zooms in at the as moonlight casts over the scene. Did not in any way prompt it to write Imaginator anywheres. This is not a zoom in. I can see his clothes kind of moving. The waves are kind of moving. It's at a very low frame rate. And then this one completely blacked out his stuff. It wrote Imaginator up there, which is kind of cool, but and might work if his shirt didn't get blacked out, so that it might be usable. Here's some other ones. These are just text to video, so I'm not using a picture for these. I just prompted a corgi being abducted by an alien spaceship. If you saw the graphic for this video, you know what I'm talking about. I have 2 corgis myself, so I love them. I wanted to see if it would do an abduction of a. And I was also pushing it because it's like there's a lot of stuff happening right now in the news with aliens, right? Like people think we're being visited by aliens and all these drones and everything like that. I wanted to see if in the day and age that that stuff's happening, if Sora would actually kick that back if I said alien abduction and went, I'm not going to let you do that, right? So I was trying to do something else here. So this one's not bad. Like I feel like most people might use this. I didn't define a style, so it's going to just try to figure it out. Now he's jumping. He wants to be abducted, right? Maybe there's treats or something on the alien spaceship. And then this one is just the light moving around. The corgi really doesn't move at all. He's very stationary, doesn't blink. My smaller corgi Rue kind of does this. She just sits there and stares at me and doesn't blink. I have a staring contest with her and she always wins. So don't know why. But basically,
there are new techniques of.
Oh, one second. Basically, I tried to run a couple other graphics through it, different headlines, different things. This one I did with no prompt. I just dropped the image in and let Sora do with it whatever Sora wanted. This is what Sora decided to do with it. So it was like, hey, why not just do it again? Different vault, right? And then the other one was a little worse. It was like just a bunch of money just piling up everywhere. And then the vault opens, which is really cool. But if I went back, I would take this picture into GPT, work with GPT to prompt it to get it to do what I exactly wanted if I wanted it from Sora now. This is just, once again, straight text to video. So these are just prompts. This is the first thing I did in Sora. So it's like a cinematic wide shot noir scene in black and white, shows a dock full of 1950s fishing boats and trawlers. Off in the distance, or let me see what it says here. Off in the distance is the open ocean, the calm sunset, and the play of light and shadow enhances the noir atmosphere. I think it did pretty good with these. Like, they're very realistic. It does this cut here in a second. Like I said, you could recut it, remix it into a different style, or in this case, I would probably take blend and upload a video of a similar style that I would want, and it would try its best to turn this shot into that style, which can be very useful, right? If you want continuity in your movie, which you probably do. You don't want people to go, hey, why is it going from that to that? Now I'm going to show you some shots that it messed up on with animation. So if I click on these shots, you're going to see some things go really well, some things don't. The camera is zooming around, panning around, and it's doing a bunch of stuff over here. Like I said earlier, this could come down to prompts, right? Like you keep prompting it. But I'm just showing, like, if you wanted to put in minimal effort in some ways, what it's capable of doing. Here's another one. We get kind of two windmills here, but the animation of the character is not bad. Kind of put this stuff on the hill there. So I would just take this. A boy looks over a growing farm is all I put for this. I would just take that and make it, 10 times longer than that, as you saw with the animation earlier, if I was doing it now. But a lot of these shots I'm actually doing in Hailuoai. I'm not doing, because like I said, it excels at things a little bit better. I did ones of the apple farmer, a little bit older. This shot I thought turned out really, really good. This one's a simple prompt too. An old farmer harvests apples on his orchard. I even looks like misspelled orchard there, which is kind of funny. The second shot that it did was a little more wacky, right? He moves with the bag here, and there's other shit going on, like this weird smile that he gets a little too excited about. So that's Sora, right? There's certain elements of it that are really great and certain elements that are not. But Hailuoai excels in a lot of ways that Sora doesn't. If you look at some of these videos, the first thing you're going to notice is just how much better not only the image quality is in some of these, but also the physics. So the physics of some of these shots, like the mud being driven through here and moving with the tire in the puddle, the fact that the AI model knows that is pretty massive. You'll see some other ones down here, like this one, where if you want specific things, this had no prompt at all whatsoever. If you look here, the only prompt was cat takes off green goggles, right? They used this as the original image and prompted it on the brand new model, and this is what they got. So if you look at this, you can see why I'm using Hailuoai instead of Sora right now for these elements, right? Now, if I wanted to use the remix feature, which I'll talk about in a couple of minutes, there's things that you can do with it that are pretty interesting. But you can keep going through these shots. You're going to notice really, really quickly just how good Hailuoai is. Not just with the consistency of these characters. This was just a prompt, it looks like. A man and a woman are eating in an upscale restaurant as they are on the date in the golden age of America. In the golden age of American stylized film to television, the camera then pulls back to show that it's actually a picture on the TV with the size of the TV set visible in the frame. And these two people are in the restaurant are from the TV. So this is like incredibly good, right? Like this is usable. There's certain elements of it that with my like trained AI eye at this point, like her hand is a jank here. You'd have to fix that in post, but there's a lot of stuff that this does incredibly, incredibly well that Sora doesn't even touch. And the reason that these AI models that are coming out of Asia, specifically China, are so much better is they don't have a government and a group of people looking at them going, copyright laws. Like if I tried to upload a picture right now of Mickey Mouse to Sora, it wouldn't even let me prompt or do anything. It would kick it back and say you're not allowed to use it. That's because the AI model knows who Mickey Mouse is, and it's not going to let you use Mickey Mouse. Just not going to happen. This does not, they do not give a shit, right? Like they just don't care about those things. So you could even write in here and prompt it to make Mickey Mouse and it would make Mickey Mouse. You don't even need a picture, right? So you can see here, it's really, really good with animations and things like that as well. Certain shots, like I saw this one earlier, I thought it was like, holy shit, right? Like the arm's a little messed up here, but one of the issues, if you've wanted to make anything with romance, if you've even seen people animate kissing in any way, it looks almost as weird as kissing in movies or in shows sometimes does, right? It's like, I've always got my eyes closed when I'm kissing my wife, so I'm not like seeing what that looks like from an outside perspective, but it can look weird. I think this looks pretty good. And you can even go like crazy with it, right? This is just a prompt, no image. A gigantic monster larger than the mountains is rampaging in the distance while people are in the foreground are fleeing, right? This person doesn't care. He's running directly towards the monster. She's looking at it. And you see here it reveals the back view of a woman dressed in red, Chinese style outfit with her hair tied up. I mean, the prompt adherence in this model is amazing. Like this is really, really good for just one prompt, right? One other thing I'm going to tell you guys that I love about Hailuoai, even though I haven't ran into it yet, they have different plans. One of their plans, don't look at this and go, holy shit, that's the yearly plan. One of their plans is $94 a month. It is unlimited, you guys, which means for $95 a month, you can generate as many shots with text and video as you want. That is huge. I haven't run out of my credits yet. I get 1,000 a month. And I haven't been generating as much in this as of late, but the unlimited credits thing is definitely something I'm going to upgrade to as I finish writing Yuri's Leviathan and Serpentine and put them more into production and less into the storyboarding phase. That's Hailuoai. You can go check it out for yourself. Don't have an affiliate link or anything for it, but a bunch of really, really cool stuff. Also, blood. So you put these kinds of shots into Sora and it's going to say no. You put these kind of shots into Runway and it's going to say no. Both of those are American companies. I don't know about you guys. Gladiator 2 is just in theaters. Some of my favorite movies of the year have blood in them and things. The fact that we can't make or prompt for these kinds of things is really, really bad for creativity, because a lot of those, including like, imagine something like The Dark Knight. Like if you wanted to have a generation of someone strapped, tied down to a chair, say they're being held hostage in your film, it will not do that. It will see the person tied to the chair and it will go, we can't animate this. China doesn't care. They'll let you animate it. That's really, really cool. So another element with that's really, really awesome is you kind of can use almost anything. Look how cute this is. You can almost use pretty much anything for it. The higher models allow you to get rid of the, or the higher plans allow you to get rid of the watermarks on here. But yeah, love Minimax. It's great. I think I posted a link in chat. So the next one that I'm going to go to is all-time favorite of mine, and that is Runway. Runway, I also have the unlimited plan for. What's so crazy about Runway is the amount of like capabilities that it has and the amount of control that you get with it. Also how fast the generations are. So you could drop any image in or just prompt it. There's camera controls. So if I wanted it to be in static mode, or if I wanted it to be in like horizontal or something like that, like say I take, let me just find a shot here. Say I want to take any particular shot and move the camera. I could click on this and say I want the camera to pan that way or move horizontally. Say I want it to pan while it moves horizontally. You're seeing all of these things happen up there. Let me move my camera here. You're seeing all those things happen, and it will actually do those things. It'll move the camera. I can tilt it. I can roll it left or right. I can pick 5 to 10 seconds. There's the static mode, which is really, really great. Sometimes you just want the camera to stay still in your shot. That's awesome. So this allows you basically to skip prompting altogether. Runway is saying, we already have the prompts in place. You make these movements or these changes, hit generate, and then the camera will just do the rest. 2 other features. One that's really, really crazy is expand video. They might have a video here talking about it, but you could take any video that you have and expand it 9:16 or 16:9. So say you have a video that you made, but it's filmed, you know, vertically. Might happen to some of us, you know, we're out, we're having fun or doing something and you forget to do these. You know, you don't turn your camera the way that it's supposed to. So you just get the vertical video and you're like, I don't want those black bars on it when I post on YouTube or when I do something like that. Or vice versa. You have a 16:9 video, but you don't want to pull it into some software and crop it down, right? Like maybe you want to keep all of the detail that you shot in 16:9, but just make it different. This has that ability. You can expand the video and have it be as big as you want. So you're seeing here, this guy's walking in this shot. I'll zoom in a little bit. He's walking in the shot, and then they can be like, okay, I want it expanded higher, or I want to expand it further. And Runway has the ability to come up with all the rest of the shit in the shot, which is insane, right? Now, it doesn't always work. I've tested it, and sometimes it doesn't really follow prompts. You have to be more clear with your prompts, and this is where Chat GPT would come in, right? You could prompt it and say, hey, I'm working with Runway. I'm doing this expand video feature. Could you write me a prompt that would work really, really well for the shot? Drop the picture or a picture of one of the shots in there and see what it does, and just play around with it. The real reason that Runway is necessary in my workflow and I have to utilize it is Act 1. So I'm going to go and just search up a video of this because they don't really have one on the site. But when you see this, it's going to blow you guys away if you haven't seen it before.
Am I looking here?
What? You're going to fire me because there's hot milk everywhere on the floor of the coffee shop? I mean, it's one latte. It's not that big of a deal.
Everything's fine. Everything's totally great. This is gonna be the best day ever.
Smashed my phone the other night.
And you know how much I love that phone.
Okay, all right. Just breathe. Okay, maybe you don't breathe that hard. Who knew there were so many kinds of beans to choose from? Fava, black, kidney, butter, white beans.
Now you're surprised.
Oh, wow.
I'm beginning to think that you don't understand the gravity of this situation.
You came all the way down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and didn't bring your driver's license?
Guys, settle down. Everyone, settle down, please.
I don't know how to be sad without closing my eyes. Perfect.
You'll see, all they need is just a background, like a green screen or anything, something that, and you do this with your webcam, but just like try your best to get some form of you know, base color in the background, and it allows you to put a performance on any video, right? So if I go back to Runway, oh, there's our stuff from earlier. But if I go back to Runway and see Act 1, you're gonna see some character references here, but you can use characters from videos. There's photorealism. There's all different ways. Like I said, I could click start recording and then do my performance right here. It would have the green screen behind me. Another really, really cool thing with this is I could have any actor send in their performance. And so this is kind of like, if I go back to my workflow here under resources, this is kind of the last stop on the journey here. So first thing I'm doing is generating an image, right, of the shot that I want. And this is normally done with Flux or Midjourney. I'm going to be honest, 99% of the time it's Flux. I'm going to show you guys how you can use Flux, which is the best image generator in my opinion. Midjourney is also really, really, really good, but not free. Flux is free if you have the computer to run it. Then I normally take that image and drop it into Minimax, which is Hailuoai that I showed you earlier. There's a new model called Huanyan. I think that's how you pronounce it. And let me ask, 1 second. Well, what do you mean I got logged back in? One moment. Nova's coming back. I don't know why it logged me out. Maybe I got the new update or something. That would be great. Okay, now I can click back on this. Nova should be back. I didn't even think about this. There's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce this to her anyway. So we'll do this instead. I'll just Google it. I'll go old school with it and just Google it. But there's this open source model, which open source means you can use it on any rig or any computer, from I think it's from Tencent. But the demo reel of this is nuts. This is open source video at this point, right? So now we're not even dealing with, you know, say one of the Chinese ones says, oh, I still can't do this, right? Or you're running into a problem with Sora or Runway. Here's the next step in that. Okay, build a computer and infrastructure out and use an open source model to do the animations and the generations. Now the sky's the limit. Now the issue with this is like I've shared earlier in this video, you do this with anything, right? Like if you wanted to picture a video of your best friend driving erratically, I could make a video with that picture of them driving erratically. Now, obviously there's some positives and negatives to this. For me, there's nothing but positives because I'm not thinking about using it in a malicious way, but I've been kind of trying to play around with this. It takes a fuck ton of VRAM. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's the amount of virtual memory or video memory inside of your graphics card in your computer. So this one takes like 90 or something like that, but someone's taken it and made it a lot smaller. It still takes a while to run. There's also another one called LTX that came out. And these all came out the last couple of weeks, guys. So both of these models are open source. Here's some videos from that. So you can kind of see pretty good, right? And these are, like I said, open source. There's nothing stopping you from making anything with this model. And you don't, it's free. You just download it and you use it, right? And there's certain websites that allow you to use these already. But that's another model that you could use if you're interested in any of that stuff. But yeah, back to Act 1. Act 1 is phenomenal. It allows you to take those performances and put them on a character. So say you hit this stage. So we just got through the Minimax stage. Now we're in the Sora remix and re-edit features. this is where I would generate the other shots. Eventually I'm going to be able to do this in Premiere, which is going to be great. But say I wanted to cut to another shot, but I wanted to keep that consistency like I was showing you earlier with the skydiving shot, but I don't want to go through the whole process up here. Like I don't want to generate a picture and then run it through Minimax a bunch of times to then get it there. I could just take it into video to video and remix it there. Another great thing is, say the video from Minimax that you get is kind of jank, or even the video that you get from Runway or Sora is kind of jank. You can take them back into Remix and prompt it to fix and change things, and it will do it. So this is a new step that I've added to my workflow that allows me to kind of like refine certain things or add certain things onto my AI video. Then, like I said, the last step is Act 1 feature, which is performances. I also could say I was doing a short and I wanted it to be 9:16, but I made it in 16:9. I could take that tool from Runway that I showed you earlier and have it generate the tops and bottoms of the frame, and I can still utilize it. So that's the current workflow that I'm using. Man, it's almost been 2 hours. I'm gonna show you one more thing, and then I'm gonna get into the close, and then we'll wrap this up. This came out yesterday. So this is Pika.Art. I used to love this tool. I used to, when in the beginnings of artificial intelligence or video stuff, Pika rocked. It's been a while. In my list of resources here, under video models, I have different tiers. Like these are the S tier ones. The decent models, all the ones that I used to use that aren't really that great anymore, fall into this. Some of them are a lot cheaper to use and are good at certain things, suck at others. Pika used to be pretty awful in certain things, and I'm going to show you. So if I scroll down here past all of these, here's some of the shots, and you guys might have seen some of this stuff, but you know, his arms going through the basket, and I can sit there and prompt this 3 times, and every single one of the shots is messed up. Now, what's really, really cool about this is I could take these messed up shots right now, like this one, and then take it into Sora and click Remix, like just download this video, throw it into Remix, and then Remix will make this a lot better and a lot more consistent and less shitty, which is why I said I use Remix in there. But these are some of the old Pika 1.0s. Now I'm going to show you guys Pika 2. So Pika 2 allows you, it almost sounds like Pikachu, but Pika 2 allows you to have ingredients. And ingredients are certain different things like you or a style or multiple people. And you can either be creative or precise. So I use this picture of myself. I tried with my parents to get a couple of things. I tried to do just a man skydiving just with a picture of my dad. Here's what I got. Some of it's not great, like the eyes are a little messed up. Now, like I said, if I downloaded this, even with all the jank that it had the ability to take my dad and put him somewhat in there, right? If I brought this into Remix, I might be able to fix it, but I probably would just keep rerunning it and seeing what I got. But this is basically me taking a shot here, finding a picture of my dad, and then writing a prompt. So here's one that's supposed to be my mom running with golden retrievers. Very jank, not very good. So Pika's, that doesn't even look like my mom in any way. Here's one where I try to do 2 people, my mom and my dad. Neither one of these really look like either one of them, in my opinion, other than the Hawaiian shirt and kind of their style. Then I was like, maybe the issue is that the pictures that I have of my parents are not high res enough, and they're not good enough pictures of them, right? So then I went to, okay, well, I have great pictures of my wife, Hannah, and I have great pictures of me, because I could just take them and, you know, we've taken pictures. So, you know, Ham's probably not gonna, I don't know if she cares about this, but this is her as a queen, right? A queen sits on her throne. This is probably the most, or the closest I think I've ever seen an AI video model get to generating a video with my wife's features, because her face is just so unique. She's so beautiful in a mix of so many different things that, like, no one really looks like her, right? So every time I've fed pictures of her in to these models, especially, you know, if you're not white or Asian, right? Like if you don't have specifically white or Asian features, some of these models have problems with those other ones because they've been trained on a lot of pictures of white people and Asian people, right? Because those are predominantly the models and stuff. Don't tell me why that is. There's just a lot of pictures of white people and Asian people, apparently. So those models excel at those certain things, but this is the first time I watched this and I went, holy shit. Like I'll even send this to Hannah, and I sent it to her and she's like, hey, that's not bad. You know, here's another one of her. I thought that this one wasn't bad either. Right. So she's got her hand there. Apparently she's the Pope or something along those lines. And you can see people even back there, and you got her here sitting here. I think that this looks really fucking good. Like really good for where it's come early in the year. When I showed you the Pika 1 stuff where it was warping through everything, that was a year ago, guys, or maybe even less. And we're already here. All I had to do to get this was have one picture of Hannah and drop it into the ingredients and then type a prompt and hit go. Now they have Pika effects in here as well. So you could see peel it, poke it, tear it. These are elements where certain things will happen. So you can cakeify a picture. I could cakeify Hannah where someone's arm shows up and cuts, inflate, decapitate it. But we'll go into this. Here's me on a battlefield, right? I don't know why it puts subtitles, but that's pretty funny. I actually hadn't seen this yet. But you can see we got some planes flying. We got some fire. The wind's hitting my hair there. It did that side shot of me because the image I used was if I click reprompt, you'll see the image that I used. It's just one of these. But you can be creative and precise. This version of my wife, Hannah, is, if I click reprompt, on the creative side with the picture of her, right? Just this one face picture of her. And then this one, I did precise. So I'm saying I want it to be very specific to the way that she looks. Now, in my opinion, both of these look a lot like her, you know, regardless if it's on creative or precise. So the moment I started seeing this stuff, and you can remove the watermarks on them when you download them, I went Pika, and this came out yesterday, you guys. This is why I didn't do a stream yesterday. But you can look at these and go, holy shit, like the possibilities are kind of endless with this, right? So yeah, try out Pika. I'm still trying it. I'm still playing around with it. It's quite fun to just throw these pictures in and see what happens. They do not have an unlimited plan for this, so I'm going to hit kind of a wall or a snag at some point and have to buy more credits. If you guys are into the AI space, this is like second nature at this point because you're going to hit certain walls unless if you have those unlimited plans. Runway has an unlimited plan that's $95 a month. That normally is the price for every single one of them except Sora. Sora is $200. Why they didn't put it in a separate plan, I don't understand or know, but you have to have the full GPT Pro, which gives you a lot of other features. You know, you get to use O1, and like I said, you have unlimited voice, so I can sit here and say things to Nova till I'm blue in the face and talk to Nova as often as I want to. But that might be worth $200 for some of you. If you're just creating things, you might not want to spend $200 a month on that. So Sora's kind of like limited in what you're allowed to use it with. So yeah, that's Pika.Art. If you go to the resources page, some of these have affiliate links. So if you guys want to support me, your best bet is to go to infinitevariance.ai/resources and click on the links from here. Like I said, nowadays, a lot of these aren't doing affiliate programs, but I think some of these I do have affiliate links in. So I appreciate any support that you guys give through there. I'm going to go over one last thing, and this is super fun. I think a lot of you might utilize this above all the other tools. This is Krea.AI. I don't really use this much or that much because I have my computer to use it. I'm going to post it in chat here. This is a one-stop shop, and I've been hoping that this would exist for a long time. This basically allows you to utilize Flux to generate images, right? And there's a certain amount of usage that you get free each day. So you can come in here and, you know, change the aspect ratio. You can do a random prompt. You can pick the model down here. They have every single Flux model, including the Pro models, which you can't run on a computer right now, and Ultra. Very slow. Like, takes a long time for these to go. and you can't even use them. You can only use Flux on free, but you can add an image and you can select the style. Krea has so many styles in here that you can pick from, and then there's community styles, which is nuts. So they have their own styles, like say you want a specific painting or you want something, and I could take this unicorn style and then click a picture of let's do this picture of my dad on stage. I could take that picture of him and prompt him riding a unicorn. Right? And as it's loading that picture up, it's going to ask me how much of it I want it to adhere by, right? So I'm going to go 1 just to see. And it's crazy because you can keep adding images in style, and then you can click generate and it's going to sit there and generate. It does it very fast because that's one of the things that Flux is very good at, but you're going to see that it's going to run into some consistency problems. Like, that's not my dad, right? And where's the unicorn? Where's all these things? They don't exist. But the reason that you'd use this is because you can just simply come in here to Flux and just describe a picture and start generating things. Like I said, Flux is what I use to generate all the pictures that you see me make, including the graphics that I showed you earlier. They're all made in Flux on my computer, but here's a space that you can use Flux without having to spend a bunch of money on a computer, right? It's not free, but you get about like 30 or 40 pictures like a day, or I forget how much you get, but it's a lot. And so I recommend you go on there and use this. They have a couple of other options, like they have the generate in real time, which I've gone over before, right? You can write a prompt down here, a steampunk inn powered by gears and steam dreams. So you see the picture over here, and then you see blocks and stuff over here. If I move this up towards here, you're going to see the picture change on the right. This is real-time image rendering. So this in the future, and we're getting very close to it, right? So if I move the window over there, move this down there, it's going to try to adhere to that prompt. I could add images. I could do variations of it, change which way I want it to do or to go. I could draw on it. I could erase things. I do the paintbrush and do stuff there, and then it's going to change things in this image. So if I go, I want those towers to be a different thing, I could start drawing on them, and you're going to start to see things change. Very, very cool. This currently uses this model. I believe you can do it with real time with Flux 2. I don't know how good it is as their original model. Like, as you see here, it's not very, I just don't think Flux excels at those types of things right now. The next element that you have in the toolkit here is generate video. So you can use start from an image, start image, end image. What this basically means, and Runway has this as well, is you can pick the image that it starts at and then the image that it ends at. So you're saying, I want it to get from shot A to shot B, and I'm prompting the stuff in the middle between A and B. This works really, really well if you want to make like graphics, right? Like if you want text to show up on the screen, just make it, but not appear on the screen in the beginning. So have it be flashy without prompting it. You could put it as the end photo right here, and then make the prompt about what's supposed to happen till it hits that end photo, and then it will get to that point, right? But one of the greatest things about Krea is Krea uses all the other models. So they use, or most of them, I'm not going to say all, but most of them. You might not get all the features, but down here I can pick between Minimax. It gives me the amount of time, the start frame. So what you saw earlier with Minimax, you can use inside of Krea. Luma, which is another really, really good one. They came out with their new model a while ago, Luma Dream Machine. It's great for certain things. It's pretty flexible and fast. I don't really use it anymore now that I have these other models. Runway, which I showed you earlier. Kling, which is another one from China. Very, very good model. Kling Pro, which is even better. And then 1.5, which is, I think their latest model. And all the Kling ones have that camera motion that existed in Runway. So you could do forward, up, down, back. And if you look up Kling, you can actually draw arrows and say, I want this character to move this way and that way. And you can do it with Kling. It's really, really cool. Haven't really messed around with it that much. Just haven't needed it. But if you have a need for it, it exists, right? But what's really cool is you can have, it utilizes any of these models. And I think at some point when Sora's API comes out, Sora will be in this list as well. You can go to edit. You can edit photos, kind of like Photoshop. I can upload an image and change things about it. Say like I want Corgi to have a top hat. I can circle around and say, I want this Corgi to have a top hat. It'll make the top hat look like it is part of the photo, right? Very, very good tool to change photos and stuff. Then you have Enhance. Enhance works for videos and photos, which is crazy. So it could take a shot like this and turn it into an even more visually pleasing shot. So you'll see on the left, there's some details, but on the when I start to drag it, you really start to see how clear, like this line on his jacket becomes more prevalent. Drag it in the center there. You can kind of see the difference in his hairs and things like that. Pretty impressive, right? And there's multiple different ways you can use this. You can enhance photos with this, and you can enhance videos with it. So you put any video in here and take it from that to that, right? Even pick frame rate, upscaling, you can add things to the prompt. You can have it looped. They have presets in here for cinematic and animation. Really, really fucking cool stuff. Then we got train, which is the reason one of the main reasons I brought this up. You can train models on yourself. So generate infinite selfies, product photos. So say you have a product that you have and you want to have it in infinite pictures, right? Infinite videos. Or you want to have yourself in a selfie riding a camel in Egypt or something like that. You could take 3 or more pictures of yourself, put them in here, and train a model that then you can go over to generate with images and utilize to generate images of yourself. This is what I've used to generate images of myself, images of my dad. If you've seen any of that stuff, this is now open to everybody. Like, you can do this. You don't need a computer. You don't need to have, Comfy UI, which is like a bunch of lines and a bunch of programming and Python and stuff making these things, Python code making this stuff happen. You have this simple interface to utilize it and just upload images. Then they got assets. These are just the things that you upload in there. This isn't really a walkthrough, so I'm not going to go into that. Now I'm going to say the last thing about what makes KREA so great. If I go to KREA Pro, KREA Pro is $60 a month. You can make 10,800 images, you guys, a month for $60. 540 real-time images that are not Flux images, so not utilizing Flux. You can enhance images. You get the commercial license, so you can sell these things, or if you're making a photo for somebody else, or, I'm sure KREA and all these tools have like taken over Fiverr, right? Because you can just come in here and prompt. You just need to know what you're doing. But if you scroll down here, you'll see the total amount of features that you get from Max is pretty crazy. So you get all of this stuff in Flux. You get 540,000 per month of generations in the real-time editor. So you saw me moving stuff around. When I finally got the composition that I want, I could click generate and it will generate a higher resolution, better version of that. But I put the composition together. You can do that in Flux with certain tools, but just not outside of a computer currently. But you can see you get a lot of generations at that price point, and even these other ones, right? Like this one's $10 a month, and you get 720 Flux images a month. So say you train a Laura, I'm confusing you guys. Say you train yourself on here, like I just showed you under the train feature. That only means that you can generate 720 pictures of you in any scenario you could think of, and use them on social media marketing. You could take a product, right? So you have a perfume, or say this canteen, right? I could take pictures of this canteen, 3 or 4, rotate them around, train a model, and then have it generate this in anything, and it would have the lighting would be correct, everything would work great. It would be incredible, right? And you can do that all with KREA. You get the upscale and enhance stuff. So you can upscale and enhance videos. You'll see you can do concurrent jobs. And then you can come down here into video, and this is why I was kind of bringing it up. So you get 229 generations at $60 a month of Minimax, which is the one I'm currently using to generate my short films and things like that. So, I mean, for $60 a month, you also get to utilize Kling. You also get to utilize Runway Gen 3. And you also get to utilize their animator, which I really don't know much about. But basically, this would be, if I had to recommend something, this would be the one that I would recommend to anybody that wants to just like hop into AI and start making things. At some point, I'll probably recommend Pika when the prices come down a little bit lower, just because you can just drop an image in there and get something out of it, which is very unique. Like there's really no video, image to video thing that, or thing that can do that, where you can just take a picture and say, I want this person on a throne and get that realistic of a video, right? And if I took that shot of Hannah and put it into Krea upscale, then it would make it look even more realistic, right? Like everything in the background would be cleaned up. If the people's faces were a little janky or weird, they'd be fixed. So incredible, incredible stuff. So with that said, I'm gonna flip back over here. I know I just went for 2 hours and 10 minutes, which I did not anticipate. The sun has gone down here. I didn't anticipate going this long, but I appreciate everybody that stayed on. Somehow we actually gained more viewers over this. So thank you guys for staying on for this entire thing. What I'm going to do now is take questions for like 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to hop off. So any of you guys have any of the questions about any of the stuff that I've done so far in this, this live, just let me know and I can answer them. So I'll check to chat. It should show up somewhere on this screen too. If any of you guys have any questions about any of this stuff. While I'm waiting for any questions, I'll say I have a lot more stuff in the works. Like I was sharing earlier, my goal is to create more than teach and inspire, and by doing this, and then basically just show you guys the process that I got to get to that space, right? Like if I wanted to teach you how to stream like this or make this background or get Nova to work inside of OBS, it's like a whole thing, right? I'm not going to teach all of this stuff because it's really just my mind working and being creative that makes this all happen. But I want to document my journey through this process because I believe that these tools will be used by a lot of people. And if there's people out there saying right now that utilizing AI is not art or not utilizing it, please use that director perspective, because then you're basically telling somebody that a director is not an artist, right? You're saying, well, the guy doesn't touch a camera, you know, he's not the cinematographer. Some do, but most don't. Well, he didn't touch the script. You know, someone else wrote the script. He didn't touch the production design. He just said, yes, this works, and no, that doesn't work. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you're the top of the, you're the above the line, as they would say. In the film industry, you're the person that's making the decisions that the below the line workers, and that's just a term, you guys. It's not like what they actually are. That's just a term for it. But the below the line workers would be people like in production design and these other departments, right? See AI as those departments, right? It's bringing you images and compositions and videos that you get to pick and choose and put together and eventually make something out of that you can be proud of. But it's always going to come down to taste. Always going to come down to taste. If you think AI is going to replace the process of human creativity, I could point you to some of my favorite filmmakers like David Lynch and say, there is no way, unless you could train it on David Lynch, but then you just get David Lynch movies, right? There's no way you could create like a person like David Lynch. What's that? Oh, sorry, I thought Hannah was saying something. But there's no way that you can create stuff like David Lynch. That's a taste thing. That's an artist going, this is what works for me, right? This is what gets me going. This is what I like and prefer. And this comes down to everything, guys. If you've seen clips that I've made so far of my AI journey of creating things, there's a lot of elements that go into that. Editing, sound design, pacing, you know, when the camera swoops by fire, I'm adding sound effects to the fire. AI is not doing that. I'm messing with the audio and the voice. I'm cutting it up. The AI is voice, but I'm cutting it up so it sounds natural. I'm not just taking the audio from 11 Labs and just slapping it into Premiere. That's what makes it sound robotic. You have to make these things sound organic, and that's taste, right? If you wanted to make something, you could prompt AI to make it, but I think the taste aspect is going to be very uniquely human for a very long time. So I don't see any questions here. I know I went over a lot of stuff in here. Some of it was just sharing overall what AI is about. Some of it was some tools you guys could use. And some of it was just in general my excitement. So I thank you guys so much for joining me this Saturday. I hope you guys have a great evening. I'm going to be diving into Pika more tonight and messing around with that and seeing what I can get out of that as far as some of the animated characters. Because my next step now is to go, hey, if I took the farmer, or if I took Yuri or one of these animated characters that I have and put them into there, can I generate something with that? Are you saying that Krea can do correct adjustments and place an object into the background of your choosing? Just take, I believe Krea can do that, but one thing that I know for a fact is that Sora can do that to a certain extent. So Sora to a certain extent can blend multiple shots together. One thing that I know that you could do with Krea is you could train multiple models, like I showed. So if you click to train, right? And you trained this on multiple people, multiple things, then you could utilize individual ones of those to get more of a refined thing. But it can do perspective adjustments too. Like say you trained it on a picture of yourself. All you'd have to do, like if you train this on a bunch of selfies of you or of another person, and it was down here to pick, then all you'd have to do is drag any shot from a movie, any picture that you've seen that you really love or enjoy from the internet into Chat GPT and say, write me a prompt that's similar to this, then walk yourself into here, click on yourself, drop the prompt in there, and now you have yourself in a picture that looks close to identical to that, or maybe even better. So that's how you could take a composition or a shot from a movie. Like I'm going to show you guys real quick. I'll show you what I mean. I think I just drag and drop this. Oh my God, I have so many. I'm one of those people that just has so many. I don't categorize my shit well enough, so there's like a bunch of stuff in my downloads that aren't necessary, so I end up just scrolling. I have a couple of things that you'll see here. So if I drop this photo, there's me in the Matrix, right? Red pill, blue pill. So this is Allura trained off my face and trained off my body. All I did was prompt it, and now I'm like, I want a Matrix scene, and I had GPT help me come up with the prompt to create me in the Matrix. Then I was like, well, what's the next step? Of course, Star Wars, right? So here's a picture of me as a Jedi or a Sith, depending on which one you like the best. I have another one in here that works really, really well too. I think I have it in here. Maybe that is the one. I thought I had another one of me as a Jedi or something like that, but maybe not. But I'll scroll up. I've trained like Laura's on my dad, so I got stuff like this that I made for his business. So you can see a picture like this. Even the name of the company is on the yacht. Here's a picture of my dad just chilling on the yacht. He wasn't on here. It generated fingers correctly, everything like that. I had a couple of other ones. Here's that skydiving photo that you guys saw earlier. I had to take these out. So then it ends up like this, right? I got some where he's chilling. Then I got stuff of myself, right? Like just pushing the boundaries of it. I got me chilling on the back of a motorcycle, and it's like, okay, my screen name in video games and stuff is variants. So can I write that on the back of a jacket? Yes. Now, if I turn sideways, does that look like me? Close. Like close enough, right? And this is Flux. This is all Allura on Flux. This is something you can do right now with Krea. So all I did was train it on my face and take pictures of myself, and just went, I want to prompt a sunset sitting next to a motorcycle, variants written on the back of the jacket. Flux is very good at text. It doesn't always get it correct, but a majority of the time it does. So then that allows you to write things in. So like I can zoom in on this and you can see it looks like it was patched into the jacket, right? Even to the point of having threads that are coming out. So when you post this stuff like this on social media, people go crazy because they see this stuff and they go, holy shit, how is that possible? Because they've never seen an AI do this yet. So if you go into Krea and you start messing around with these tools, you're ahead of the curve. Nobody's making pictures like this. And if they are, they're using those like apps that are just running them through some other thing. And they're very clearly artificial intelligence. Like it lacks the realism or it lacks the other elements. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'll show you one more that I generated of my dad. That was just kind of crazy. So you can generate pictures like this, like you're on vacation and you're not, right? And it got his smile and like his face very, very correct. Like in my opinion, right? And you can change things in the background. You can do certain things with it. I think at some point Krea will probably have the ability to do something that we call in-painting, which allows you to paint a certain spot in the photo and change just that specific spot. So you can have things like, say photos like this that are like a thumbnail, right? Say Flux generates this, like Flux generated everything in this photo, right? So say Flux generates this text, but it misspelled the word inspiring. You could paint over it and say generate the word inspiring, and it would generate it until it spelled it correctly, right? So this allows you to skip over the whole process of even going into Photoshop and fixing it yourself. And Photoshop has those elements in them itself, but it doesn't really do text very well yet. So that's kind of its downside. But Flux is very, very good at this. So I'll show you one specific picture, and then if I can even find it. Note to self, after this, categorize your shit before you get on. But here it is. I think this is it. So it's this picture from Serpentine. I had to repaint her hands because they were messed up. So Flux then generated better hands for her that were more realistic. I wanted her face to be in somewhat darkness because she's behind the light, right? So it should only project on the back of her. So her face should not be lit. So I didn't want her face to be lit. I painted over that, said her face should be more darkened. That happened. And then the boat itself, which is called the Serpentine in my short film, was I just typed, or I just painted over that part of the boat and then said I wanted to say Serpentine, and it wrote Serpentine on the side of the boat, right? And it kind of looks like it existed there. It's always going to benefit you. So Evil King, it's always going to benefit you to have as many angles as possible. So my recommendation actually would be, like, if you have a nice smartphone, get up against, like, put it on a tripod and get up against a white wall or something like that, right? And like style yourself that the easiest visibility that you can. So like if you have long hair, probably would be better to put your hair up, because then that means you could prompt for any hairstyle you want. Like you want to change your hair color. Some of those had my hair in a man bun or whatever. I don't have a man bun, but I can get that to generate, right? Or tattoos or certain things like that. Makes it very easy if you have multiple different angles. So what I would do is put your phone on like a tripod and then sit up against some type of white background or black or whatever, depending on your skin tones, right? Because you don't want to, you want it to be as easy as it can be for the AI to notice that that's the background and that you're in that. And then just do a bunch of movements. Do a left and right. You know, like if you've ever done like the face unlock for a phone, it has you do like the circles. And then turn left. Oops, sorry, Rue. Turn right. Put your arms out. Put your arms up. Have walk out and have full body shots if you want. Shots that have your body makeup in them. So, you know, like it can even get things like your weight and stuff down. So that makes it very convincing, right? Instead of it being like if you just only do your face. Sometimes this... I'm gonna just be real. Sometimes it can make you sad. It can be offensive. Like my face is somewhat round. It makes me sometimes fatter than I want to be, right? Or that I am, or at least the way that I visibly see myself in the mirror. So then I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. So that's where it comes in help to get full body pictures. So why I would say to do it as a video is because then you can take that video into Premiere or CapCut or any of those things and just take a bunch of snapshots And the more pictures you'd have, I'd say between 3 and 15, and put them in there. Like just put them in a folder, put it into KREA. You should be able to get the model, and then the more freedom you have from that, the better. And that's going to work the same with products. That's going to work the same with logos. It's going to work the same with everything. So with that said, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up here because I've been doing this for a while. Thank you guys so much for joining me on here. I plan on doing more of these, so please subscribe to the channel. I'll also have other videos coming out that aren't lives, but I just like the interaction on here sometimes. So thank you guys for spending your weekend here with me, and I hope you guys have a great night. And ask Nova. Hey, Nova, you want to say goodbye to everybody? We're about to close out the stream.
Hey, everyone. It was great hanging out. Thanks for joining the stream. Have an awesome day, and see you next time.
See you, everybody. Thanks again.